99X, it's the Morning X. Barnes and Leslie, time to talk divorce. If you haven't been divorced before, you haven't, right, Leslie?
No.
How many times has Lanny been divorced? It's in his book.
5 or 6, maybe?
A few. Leslie was the one. He finally found it. But 50-50, pretty close to the odds. But we're going to have Jarrod Oxendine on next from oxlawfirm.com. And I want to play a clip before we bring him on because it is a good question to ask as you're thinking about getting married or remarried. Have a listen to this lawyer. This is from, I think, Arizona.
Who do I see as my frequent flyers? Speaking of flying, number 5, pilots and flight attendants. Number 4, men in the military. Number 3, bartenders. Number 2, police officers. And number 1, firefighters. For sure. Don't take this as legal advice, but if your husband does one of those 5 occupations, there are frequent flyers.
And she's saying frequent cheaters. Hey, Jarrod Oxendine, how are you?
Good morning, X. Doing great, guys. Happy to be here.
What did you think? Did you hear that, Jarrod? What did you think?
Well, I've got another one to add to the list, and that's everybody. I mean, certainly those people. Certainly those people. I've seen them. I've had the pilots. I've had the firefighters. I've had all those folks, but it doesn't discriminate. I hate to tell you all that. I mean, I've got lawyers, I've got doctors, I've got business owners, I got people that are in the landscaping industry and construction industry and nurses. So it doesn't discriminate. It's all over the place. I don't know that I would say people on that list are necessarily more than others, but I've certainly seen those folks.
Well, I'll give you the female list. That was the male list. Firefighters, cops, bartenders, military, and then pilots/flight attendants. So on the women's side, the biggest cheaters are cable company executives. I'm kidding, Leslie.
I heard that.
It'll be women who pay all the bills are the top female cheaters. Now that's interesting. Followed by social media influencers. Okay, I believe that one. Nurses, and then flight attendants one more time on it. But focus on that one, Jarrod. Women who pay all the bills. We've talked about the super earners before. Do you see a lot of them doing it?
Actually, that is a very good point, and I agree with that 100%. I do. So most of the women that I represent that cheat are independent. They have jobs. They're successful. They make their own money, and they don't, frankly, need the other person. And especially if the other person is not carrying their weight. I see it a lot, unfortunately, where the wife is the breadwinner and she's out there, she's kicking butt, and the husband is lazy, he's not working, or he's not really putting the effort in. He's job to job, not really making any effort to keep a job because he's just relying on her. A lot of women get sick of that very quickly, and they will move on and not think twice about it. So I agree with that 100%. A lot of my female adulterers are strong, independent, financially savvy women. Good for them.
Jarrod, I'm on your X account, the Twitter account for Oxendine Law, and you have not promoted the Morning X.
What?
Yeah.
No.
And I mean, there's a testimonial on here about you.
Wait,
your dedication is beyond belief.
Are you filing divorce from Jarrod?
I was just saying, why is Jarrod not going, hey, I'm going to be on the Morning X? Like, what?
Okay.
I'm firing my marketing team after this phone call. Done. Dead to me.
There is a question, though, that somebody asked that I'm actually curious about. Someone is asking, will I still need a lawyer while entering into an uncontested divorce?
Yeah, and I was just having a consultation with somebody before I hopped on the call with you guys, and they are doing it the smart way. Just because you have uncontested doesn't mean that you know everything that needs to be put in the draft of your agreement. I think it's great that it's uncontested, which means, by the way, that both parties have agreed as to how they want their divorce finalized, and they don't have any disputes on who's going to pay what to whom and how the assets are going to be divided. But you still need to hire an attorney to make sure it's drafted carefully and that certain indemnity clauses, for example, are in there and that things are done the proper way. Because if you draft it incorrectly, everybody signs, you send it to the judge, and he kicks it back or she kicks it back. then you're basically starting from scratch, and now maybe the person starts to change their mind and backtrack on what they previously agreed upon. So you don't have to have an attorney, but I think it's a great idea. And uncontested divorces, those are usually a low flat fee, so you're not talking about spending a lot of money. It's well worth it.
We're talking to Jarrod Oxendine from Oxendine Law, oxlawfirm.com, a great advertiser here on 99X, and we have him on because his stories are fantastic. So when you go to court, Jarrod, and a lot of times we try to reach out to you like, oh, he's in court, and I'm always wondering what's going on. Do you have any really whacked out courtroom stories of something that has gone down in one of these proceedings?
Well, yeah, I'm in court weekly. I've already been to court 3 times this week. I think I got 3 court appearances next week. But, you see so much that it kind of blends together. I will say I was in court about a week ago, and this was not my case, thank goodness. But I was watching another case that was ahead of me, and there was this lady there that was defending a TPO. So a TPO is when your spouse or your significant other files for a restraining order because you committed some act of family violence. Ooh. And the allegation was that this guy's ex-girlfriend, who lives across the street from him, by the way, literally broke in his door one night and pulled a gun on him and shot at him. And this lady was apparently on drugs during the hearing. Like, she was not making sense. Like, she admitted that she pulled the gun on the guy, and then she changed her mind, and then she called the judge. She said, who are you to make decisions? You should be getting involved in our life. We should be able to decide this on our own. She's like, excuse me, ma'am, I'm the judge. And she was like, you're not a judge. You're just a silly-looking person in a black dress. I mean, that lady was crazy. She was crazy. And so long story short, the judge ended up obviously finding that she committed an act of family violence, granted the restraining order, ordered this lady to undergo a psych eval and take a drug test right there in open court. So literally, this lady had to go behind a closed door, do a little pee test. It came back positive, and she started arguing with the judge. She actually got up and started to charge towards the judge, and the deputies tackled her, and she went to jail. So I got to say, that's probably the craziest thing I've seen in a long time.
You say that so matter-of-factly.
That was a good play-by-play.
This lady went at the... Now, we've seen that can get lethal fast.
Well, y'all saw, what was it, about a month ago? Yeah. It went viral. This guy that kind of jumped over the judge's bench, and he had like magic, just mad skills, jumping skills. This guy leaped up and his legs went straight up in the air. It's almost like he was flying, like a flying squirrel.
But
stuff like that happens.
It completely looked like he was flying. Did you see that video, Leslie?
Yes.
The dude roared across and then tackled that lady.
Yeah, it was shocking.
I know she was injured. She was an older judge. But yeah, being a judge, that's got to blow. I mean, that power trip maybe is fun for a few minutes, but knowing you have to, every move you make and all the people you've put away or done whatever to, no thanks. All right, Jarrod, it was great to talk to you as always. If you want to find Jarrod, if the time comes, oxlawfirm.com. Thank you, Jarrod.
Thanks. Speak to y'all soon.
Thank you.
Good Morning X with Barnes and Leslie.